It's the 12th of January, and I'm sitting here together with my longtime colleague, Alex Byrne, sitting in, where are you today, Alex?
I'm in West London, actually, in Twickenham, West London.
Yeah, and I'm in Oslo. And I was really interested to hear how things have been lately. How has the last half a year been?
Yeah, well, it's funny. We were just reflecting on. We were part of the last 3 years of a big European Union funded project called "I Will Be Everything," and actually this time last year I was attending a performance of that show in Germany, and I went there to do a measure up of the set and some photographs in order that a second version of the set could be made in Japan for the Esoteric World Congress, which was in March, planned for March or April. And sat at that meeting and did the drawings and photographs with the technicians. It was Andre from Poland, actually, who was doing the drawings with me. And I said, you know, how do you feel about all this? Will they be able to build it? Will we get ready? And he said, yeah, we'll be fine. Except, what do you think about the novel coronavirus? And I was like, what are you talking about? That won't affect us. What are you talking about? This is crazy. So there we are. That was sort of an odd moment to think about where we are then and where we are now.
And is the set made in Japan? Did they make the set in Japan?
I don't know if they. I mean, I don't think they did. They've postponed the festival, and I don't know exactly what will happen even this year with that. No. Postponed until this year, to April. So we'll see. But certainly we won't be travelling there to play a live performance. And yeah, I'd say overall it's been a year with lots of cancellations. You know, we had, I think as you did, lots of international plans which were all curtailed, some postponed and some unknown, as yet unknown. And we've done a sort of over the course of the year, we've done a gradual shift to doing some work together. And shifting some work onto sort of digital, sharing, recorded, and so on. But I don't know if we've done any live performances since March.
No.
I think we have. I know you guys have, which is really good, but we haven't. So that's interesting.
Wow. Yeah, that's. But tell me about the digital work, because you've done a lot of steps on that.
We did a couple of things because, as you know, we've done every year these big family Christmas shows, which have been both a big pillar of our reach to audiences and a big pillar of our finance, because they potentially earned some money for the company and been sold internationally. But we planned to work on a new performance for this Christmas with Cambridge Junction. That's our host venue in the UK, and we realised, lots of people were trying in that run-up. One of the things, if you know something about British theatre, you know how much quite a lot of it rests on work around the kind of festive period. Lots and lots of commercial venues and funded venues will have a big part of their year invested in the sort of family Christmas outing to the theatre, and we've been part of that to some extent. So yeah, we realised sort of in October that we wouldn't be able to have a live show, or that at least having a live show would be very, very risky. And there were people who rehearsed and opened shows in London, for example, who played for 3 days and then then London was closed down for performances. So that's really, really tough. We had additional support through Arts Council of England from the government to do a digital version of Hans Christian Andersen's The Snow Queen, which we did as a movie, or sort of a small film, 45-minute film. And I think it was reasonably successful. It certainly was viewed by plenty of people, and we had some really nice responses. And that was an interesting journey. We also did a three-hander Hamlet, which was meant to be a small-scale tour for schools, and we did a bit of that. Actually, we did 2 live performances of that. So when I say we haven't done any live performances, we did 2. And but also the digital version of that and the video of that is really, really great. And I think that's going to be another step that we'll do to sort of work on that a bit more. But I don't know I don't know whether we'll keep on doing more digital work. It doesn't replace the live though, does it? Live is something else.
Yeah, it's very different, huh?
And I've been a bit frustrated sometimes seeing online where people have made. We did it. We shared the video version of Around the World in 80 Days that we made. But I think that there's something that is by no means comparable with the live version, and it's something very, very different. And there's been a bit of that, so people releasing stuff online, which is a recording of a show, which I think I find it tough to watch. Even I don't get engaged by it very well. So
no, you see less and less of that now, and then people like you did with the Snow Queen, you make a film instead, or you make a whole production made for this format. Which I mean, I've watched the Snow Queen, and I think it's really interesting to see how much of the theatricality that's left in the film, which is lovely, inside the earth and going into these different rooms. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it was also, I think it was interesting to say, I mean, as you were talking about when we spoke earlier about brothers and sisters, about putting stuff outside and being outside in the environment, because that's what you can do with film that you can't do with theatre. I think the other thing is interesting is that in which I realised is that this is really obvious, but in film is that the camera moves.
Yeah.
And in a way, in theatre, obviously the audience is still, and the people on the stage move. So I mean, it's just really interesting, a really fundamental difference. What that's about.
And what are your plans for the spring then?
It's a little bit complicated, actually. I mean, at the moment we're in a further stricter lockdown, and it may be even that the rules get more serious over the course of this week, even. But we expect to work on. We've decided that for the moment we're going to focus very much on local work with the community. I mean, we're based in Cambridge, our home venues in Cambridge, and with the community, some of the schools around. We've also begun. We were planning now to be in. I should have been today in Galway, in the west coast of Ireland, rehearsing for a new small-scale family show. So we've done a little bit of online work with that, but we are going to. We've postponed that further research and development time, and we're just thinking about. I mean, I suppose the biggest thing we've been thinking about is how to support the kind of freelance artists that we work with, and how to keep on doing projects with them. So we've done 4 small-scale digital commissions for little films that some of those artists have made, and those will come out in the next weeks. And we're thinking about if we've got money to do some more of that, so that some of the artists that we work with can keep on, practicing and make some little things to share, and share some things that are sort of responsive to where things are at now a little bit. So that's the plan. And then we think we might be, I suppose the big thing will be when we get round to next autumn, and how we return to live work, especially around that kind of family festive Christmas holiday offer. So in the meantime, I think it's that.
Yeah. And are the schools open in Cambridge now?
Schools in England aren't open. I mean, also sort of almost comically, some of them open for a day, and then after Christmas, and then we're closed down again. So actually, it's interesting. Schools are operating because obviously key workers, people who work in the health sector, people who work in essential roles, their kids still need to go to school. So schools are doing a bit of both at the moment, I think, but schools certainly won't be open for live performance. And I don't know when that will return, maybe after Easter.
Yeah, but is it possible, even if the schools are closed, to present the digital version, the 300 of Hamlet through some of the things?
Yes, and there are some ways. There's no sort of formal structure for that in the way that there sort of is in Norway. Where there's schools, touring organisations, and so on. But I think that locally, I mean, we did distribute the Snow Queen went to schools as part of it, and we're actually going to put that back up live online. During this bit of lockdown, and then I think that there'll be a sort of a digital, a little bit like as you described, maybe a digital performance followed by some Q&A with some of the artists and so on.
Yeah.
So
we're looking forward to the autumn.
Yeah, and maybe to August in Norway.
Yeah, maybe to August in Norway. Yeah.